Hello and welcome to my new video. If you're new here, hi, I'm Lex, and today we're going to be in Pokemon Pokopia. This game is taking the cozy gaming world by storm. I think it's so worth it. I am obsessed. But I wanted to give you guys some beginner tips for the game. I want to emphasize beginner. These are going to be tips for when you first start playing to kind of get you going. So if you're 50 hours deep in Pokopia, this might not be as helpful for you, but let's get into it. I'm going to start super simple, okay? We're going to start with your literal buttons. I did not realize that you could jump in this game. It is the R button. It's the button above your right trigger. That button allows you to jump. You can also run with B. That was not intuitive to me. I automatically want to use B to jump, and it turns out if you go into your settings in your phone, you can swap the controls for those. So running will be assigned to your R button and jump will be B. However, that does mean that other things assigned to those buttons are also swapped. I went into the button settings themselves, and it does seem like you have to change for both things assigned to the button. So I ended up keeping mine with the regular options, but good to know that you can control that. Also, if you skipped through the dialogue, you might have missed it, but there are shortcuts built in for you, so you do not have to talk to a Pokemon in order to get them to follow you around. You can just press up on the D-pad. I encourage you to investigate your D-pad. You can also press, I think it's down for some emotes that you can use, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, if you just press up, you can get someone to follow you easily, quickly, without having to go into dialogue. While we're talking about your buttons, let's talk about mouse controls, okay? I feel like they're so easy to ignore, like when the Switch 2 announced that it was going to have mouse controls. I thought that was really neat, but I didn't think that I would be using it. It is game-changing in Pokopia if you like the element of building. I know a lot of us probably haven't experimented with that much yet, but even for destroying things, it is so much easier and faster to use the mouse controls. So to do that, you need to place your Joy-Con, just one of them, on your table or a flat surface near where you're playing, and you'll have like a little cursor on the screen that lets you auto-select things way easier and quicker. This is super helpful in my opinion for building because you can select exactly where to place blocks without being right in front of them, but also for demolishing. So you can see me demolishing some things here. The range is a lot better than if you're just like looking at the blocks with the, regular Joy-Con controls. So mouse controls, I definitely encourage you to investigate them. They do streamline a lot of features of the game. If you're wondering where I was destroying a building, by the way, I was on a dream island, so you need to listen when you get Drifloon. Drifloon tells you that if you give them a doll, if you show them one, they can take you to a dream island. You can only visit one dream island a day, so I low-key fumbled. I'm like 4 days into gameplay, and this is the first time I actually asked Drifloon to take me somewhere. This is your chance to progress. Go to the dream island, show Drifloon any doll that you find. I showed them my Eevee doll, and they took me to a very basic dream island, but on the dream islands you'll find some stardust that you can turn into star pieces, which is really cool if you do link play because that helps you get different Pokemon that you might not have on your island, which is neat. You can also take anything from the dream island home with you, so if the dream island has resources that you want to take home, you can grab all of those. Or if you, like me, are trying to stockpile things for building, you can go ahead and do that here on the dream island. You can, like I showed you, demolish the absolute heck out of some buildings and take all of those things home. When you get back, when Drifloon takes you back to your home, you will be able to access all of the things that you broke down and put in your inventory, which is super helpful. You just want to, that's like a general tip, you want to steal everything. If you see anything cool in any of the like dilapidated buildings that you discover anywhere, you want to grab it, you want to go put it in your little, you want to make a chest for like furniture items and stuff. You want to put that in there so that you have it if you decide you want to decorate and design later. I also recommend going to the highest point that you can access on any dream island because there might be things that you didn't notice before, like little Pokeballs with special rare things in them, DIYs, items, etc. So just make sure you're checking it out. You can revisit the dream island that you go to as many times as you want to that day. You just can't visit another one. So if you need to leave, come back. If you're running out of inventory space, you can definitely do that. Speaking of inventory space, you can use packing tips in the PC in order to upgrade your storage. So I've upgraded, I think I have 3 pages of inventory now. You're gonna want to do that, okay? You're gonna want more inventory space. You are picking up a lot of items in this game. So you want to have as much room for those as possible. And on that note, you can also build chests that have multiple pages of storage. You have to use the Pokemetal to do it, so make sure you're grabbing Pokemetal whenever you can. I put my first big chest really close to my storage table. It needs to be like one block by one block touching your crafting table. If they are touching, you can build with the crafting table using anything in that chest. This works for, I believe, up to 4 storage chests per crafting table. You should be able to build using any materials from any of those chests. It just has to be touching, cannot be like diagonal or half touching. While we're talking about storage chests, you can also store plants. So I didn't realize this. Once you get the ability to pick up plants and like hoe the ground, you can in fact store the plants. I was just carrying them around. I was like picking them up, immediately carrying them to where I wanted them to go. You don't have to do that. You can actually store the plant. Just pay attention. It's either R or B on your controller, depending on what controls you're using. You can go ahead and put them in your inventory, and from there you can place whole plants into storage. So early Animal Crossing players are crying. You can in fact do that. I will also say, once you have your first Pokemon Center built, a Pokemon with the trade ability can trade things inside. So I didn't realize this, and I wasn't going inside. Go in there and trade. You can get all kinds of like furniture, building resources, all kinds of things. And this is how you can get rid of all those blocks that are filling your inventory space. I have a whole chest that I dedicate to just keeping blocks. Grab your blocks out of there. You can trade them because each block has a value of 10. So like your dirt blocks, you can get rid of them by trading them for items that you do want. I got rid of a few hundred of my blocks today, just trading them for the things that my little Hitmonlee was selling to me. Once you have the ability to electrify things or bring power to them, you can also set up cash registers where you please and have any Pokemon with the trade ability come in and trade with you. I obviously cannot do it yet. While we're talking about trading, I also think it's really neat that once you get Vespiquen, which you can grab her if you have a field of flowers, you need like 8 flowers together in a little group. Vespiquen can spawn, and if you bring her 3 jars of honey, you can take an item from her. She will change up her items daily. I think she has like 4 every day. I try to get I try to get 12 honey jars every day so that I can trade and get all of the items she's offering. She offers furniture to me so far, at least, and they've been really cute. It's cool to get the items that she has for trade, so make sure you're doing that. One thing I've taken to doing is, obviously some of the habitats have multiple Pokemon that can live in them, and not all of them are easy to make. So if there's a habitat that I don't really want to remake, or I just want to get the Pokemon faster, I will move the Pokemon that have already spawned for that habitat out of it and into a house. You're doing that to make space for new Pokemon to come along, because then you have the original Pokemon in a house happy, and the new Pokemon can potentially appear now. I want to move on here to some plant-related things. Aside from being able to store your plants, you're going to want to auto-water your plants. And you can do that by making sure that the ground that you till is right next to water blocks. Okay, later you will have access to water sprinklers, which make it easier, so not every plant has to be directly against water. But for now, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're irrigating your fields. You will automatically be growing your beans and tomatoes and such without having to go in and manually water them, because that is much slower. Very silly, I did not put my original plants right next to water, and I should have. So now I am kind of reversing and doing that. You can also use Scyther's cut ability to harvest your plants a lot quicker. I think that is really efficient. You can go in, instead of having to pick each individual bean, you can just cut them all and then suck them all up with Y, which is what you should be doing to get, big groups of things anyway. Do not just press Y a million times. Suck everything in by holding Y down. It's quick. And that brings me to my next point. If anything in this game seems really tedious to you, don't brute force it, okay? I did that. I found something like way away in the water, and I was like building bridges out to it, 1 block at a time. It was tedious as possible. Don't do that. That example is later made efficient by gaining the ability to swim, okay? You will get the ability to swim, and you'll be able to traverse water without having to build out little bridges for it. so much easier. And another example is terraforming, which I didn't even know about. Shout out to 39daff on Twitter because they have taught me so many things as I've navigated early on in the game, including that you can terraform later by using Graveler's technique, which is rollout. I haven't even gotten that yet, but because I know that, I'm now not wasting time like knocking down 100 blocks to terraform. I'm just gonna wait until I have that ability. Something else pretty neat that you'll get later on, several hours into the game, is food buffs. You'll learn how to cook and you can use that food to buff your abilities. For example, leafage. I use leafage here. You can create vegetation on rocky land instead of just soil, and the food buffs you get, they do expire, but rather than being based on time, it's based on usage. So you'll see here there are different bars for your other abilities versus ones that you've buffed. The buffed bar is going to be gold and it's going to go down at a different rate depending on how often you're using that specific ability. I think that's really neat. I think that was a good idea, and I really appreciate that it's not based on time, especially because the game does move in real time. So it's like, oh, what if I buff and then immediately have to get off of the game? You don't have to worry about it. This one's kind of random, but if you're wondering what the heck you can do with all of the lost relics that you're finding, as well as the feathers that appear, you're going to want to keep those. I just put mine in a separate little chest so I don't lose them. I did learn that you'll be able to trade these later with another Pokemon once you get into the mountain area. So don't worry about it for now if you're not there yet, but you will be able to trade these items for rare items. So keep them, don't discard them or sell them or trade them or whatever. Keep them until you're able to trade those specifically for rare furniture. Another thing I want to note here, your phone in this game is wildly useful, okay? Beyond the obvious, like using it to check your Pokédex and your Habitat Dex, you can use it to view everything that you found. So I early on was trying to figure out what DIYs I had and I was getting frustrated. It's in the collections option on the phone. There's a little app on your phone that says collections. Within that app, you will find ancient artifacts, which includes your lost relics, both large and small, as well as any fossils that you find. You will then find all of your human records, so you can review things like the magazines, photos, newspapers, whatever kind of footage you've discovered while you navigated your world. You'll be able to find all of them here if you want to reread. There's also a highlight reel tab where you can view any special photo ops that you managed to grab. I think this is such a cute feature. It just, I don't know, I think it's neat to have a reason to pull your camera out. You can also, of course, as I mentioned, see all of your recipes broken down by category and items. I think that is my favorite thing. You can see your entire collection as well as how much you're missing, which is a little daunting. But the items even include the building kits that you've discovered, so you can kind of get an idea of how much more you have left to find. Something else on the phone that I think is really neat is the camera app. Within the camera app, you can actually access your security cameras as well, so it'll show you footage from the nearby security camera. I'm gonna tell you right now, okay, the security camera I felt like was a little like, I don't know, it's useful, but it's like, how often will I use that? I realized that you can just build up. You can build up and place your camera high in the sky. You can have an above ground drone. You can have a sky drone. You can have a drone view of your village. So that's what I recommend doing. I just built up like a line of dirt. I placed the security camera midair, and now I have like this floating camera so I can see all around the area easily. That is a huge hack. Oh my god, that's so cool. I mean, you're gonna have to deal with the fact that now you have like a little security camera midair over your land, but how often realistically are you looking straight up, okay? It's literally so worth it. And this is kind of like a little fun fact slash tidbit, maybe obvious because of the icon that comes up after, but playing games and having conversations with your Pokemon actually does improve your relationship with them, and I think that's adorable. So I was just playing Look That Way with Pidgey, and obviously I won. If you win their games, you do get a better relationship boost with them, but even if you don't, you still get more XP with them, so I think that's cool. And then another sort of random thing is that you can flip the weather charm for different effects. So I used it for the rain thing for a quest. Didn't realize that you could flip it and get the sun version. I didn't realize that the charm was flippable, so that's my bad. So these were some things that I have seen so far and discovered while playing. Please, in the comments, let me know what you've discovered about the game so far. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say that not only was this game worth the ridiculous cost, like I think $70 is way too much for a game, Having played it, I would pay it again. I think this game is phenomenal. I would even go so far as to say that this game is a valid reason to pick up the Switch too. If you don't have it yet, if you're considering it, if you're wondering if Pokopia is good, I'm gonna tell you, after dozens of hours in the game so far, I am nowhere near finished. And I mean, not even close. There are probably hundreds of hours to be had in this game, just progressing the storyline and not even talking about like designing yet. I've got to get into the design portions. It's complex. The Pokemon are so likable. It takes a lot of things that were tedious in games like Animal Crossing New Horizons and makes them a lot more efficient. And I don't know, it's just a good time. I have not time traveled or anything yet. I see a lot of people online doing that. I'm trying to play the game like as I learn things, try to kind of play it as intended so that I don't get burnt out, but I'm telling you, it is so fun. This is the most fun I've had with a game in years. But yeah, tell me your tips in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful week. Bye for now!